If you tell a woman, I like a woman who is submissive. I like a woman who is peaceful. I want a woman who is this. The moment you use the word submissiveness, women have a problem with it.
And that's a very tricky word. Do you want to be a dictator over me? You get what I mean? Like if you say something and I don't obey, automatically to you I'm not submissive.
Okay, put it this way, right? You have a problem if your man tells you to submit to him. You have a problem with that, don't you?
I don't. I'm very opinionated. Just to put that out there, if you ask me to do something and it doesn't sit right in my spirit to do it, I'm not going to do it. And if that means I'm not submissive, so be it. But I'm not going to do something. I'm not going to be forced to say or do anything because a man asked me to do so. It has to make sense. I have to have a reason for doing it, and it has to be beneficial to both of us. Otherwise, I will tell you outright, I am not submissive.
Okay. This goes back to something you said from the very outset. And you said most men have a problem.
Especially African men. You know, it's different here because when you migrate to the Western world, you learn some degree of independence because you just don't stay home as the homekeeper that we used to be back home anymore.
True.
You have to contribute to a home. 9 out of 10 times, the woman works, the man works. We have to figure out a happy medium, right? You don't expect a woman to do exactly what they used to do back home. It'd be great if a woman can do that, but you're just going to wear them out.
When a woman works, 9 times out of 10, she don't pay bills like that because it's expected of the man to take care of his responsibility. It's the man in his mind, it's ingrained. He knows that's what I have to do. Put it this way. A man can pay the bills every day, even when the woman is not working. But I can guarantee you, the moment, and he doesn't complain about it, the moment the woman picks up the tab for 6 months, I can guarantee you, she gets so annoyed, every little thing will stem from that fact.
You don't know the true character of a woman until she's like completely financially independent.
Absolutely.
And especially in the case where the man is down. I've seen so many different people go through that phase in life, and that's true to an extent.
That's why I'm saying, and I'm sorry to correct you, and that's why I have this belief that just to follow up with what you say, you see the true character of a woman once she starts to make money, right? Because when a woman starts making money, and this is some of the things, and it's funny because I always have this conversation and I tell people, it's like, what do you believe men look for in a woman? What do you believe a man would like? Do you think I care about your career? Do you think I care about your educational status? I don't care about all that stuff. The truth of the matter is, when a woman gets too educated, she becomes non-agreeable. I'm just being honest.
Okay.
She becomes very non-agreeable. She becomes a little feisty. You can't lead her because she understands this. She believes I can do it on my own.
Actually, I feel like that's the reverse. Most of the educated women that I know actually are more submissive than the kind of women that you're talking about.
Well, here's the truth. Here's the truth. When you say they become submissive, that's not even possible. The only reason why they submit is the question. It becomes, what does that man provide, or what does that man bring into that whole union that makes the woman submit?
Again, if a woman is able to do it on her own, she needs you for pampering, for love, for peace, whatever it brings her, not to provide. This society, men are not just the providers anymore. I feel like women are up there. They're doing way better than the men, and you can agree with that.
I agree. And I agree. So put it this way, right? When you go on a date with a guy, do you expect the guy to pay for the first date?
Personally, I'm going to be honest. I always have my backup cash, but yes, I do expect the man to pay for the first date.
Okay, so you just say that's why, when you look at things from that perspective, right? It's the traditional thing for a man to pay on a first date. It's a traditional thing for a man to hold the door open. I'm not saying she can't open the door. It's a traditional thing for a man to say, hey, if I'm walking down this, if we just left the restaurant and we're walking on the pavement, it's natural for a man, traditionally speaking, for the man to put you on the other side while he walks closer to the road. That's just a protective instinct in a man. You know
That's
what I mean?
true. I
so
agree
we
with that.
go back. It's for us men. We revert to our traditional roles. But again, the society in which we live in, women have moved from those traditional roles because they start making money. They're more educated. Again,
isn't that supposed to be a good thing?
it's a good thing if women let those good things that are nice from school, they're making money, and they're doing all those things, help to make the man better. Understand this. A union or marriage is like, think about you playing chess. The queen can move just about anywhere on the chessboard, but the king only moves one chess at one space at a time. So if the woman is able to, with all that education, with all the things she have, if you can use that to benefit the man from where he's at, I can guarantee you the sky is the limit. But when the woman becomes one non-agreeable, because again, think about it. Now you have that education in your head, and the man has to lead. If the man says, funny story, right? I met this friend of mine in North Carolina. The mom, rest her soul, she passed on. She said something. She said, one thing I like about my son's wife is she will follow the husband wherever he goes. If the man says, let's jump, it could be the wrong decision, but she will jump with the man.
That's not a right form of leadership. I don't think the woman is smart enough. The fact that she just follows, being a follower is one thing. You should be able to understand why you're following. If you're just following because you think your husband is a leader, if your husband is dumb, you're going right down with him. And as a woman, if your husband don't make the right decision, it's your role to kind of support him and say, hey, this is not the right thing to say. This is not the right thing to do.
I agree.
Just don't follow.
I agree. When I say the man, when she made that statement, it wasn't so much, it wasn't just saying, okay, hey, there's a whole day I'm going to jump in there. She was basically saying that woman will stand through the man through thick and thin. And that old lady, without that same level of education, can see something in that woman. It tells you, it speaks volume about how beneficial when a woman who gains that knowledge, how that knowledge can add to making that man a better person. Because once the man is better, trust me, the family becomes better.
Yeah, that brings me to date on your level. Marry on your level. If you're educated, go for someone educated. Because a lot of men feel intimidated when they marry an educated woman. A woman that understands her worth and is able to speak out. Men get intimidated. They run away from that kind of woman because they think they cannot follow. They want a woman that was quote unquote submissive. And that's the kind of woman they want, right? Women that will listen. According to you being educated, well, according to the majority, being educated an educated woman will not listen. But in this case, if an educated woman marries an educated man, I feel like they walk the same path. They probably understand certain things as opposed to an educated woman marrying someone that is, half book, as we call it. That man will always feel insecure, intimidated, because whatever that woman says or does, he would take it as, you're too educated for me. You don't listen. Whereas if we were on the same level, you probably will understand better. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it makes a whole lot of sense in my head.
It does, but let me say this real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to put it as a disclaimer.
Okay.
Men don't feel intimidated by no woman.
Oh, they do a lot.
No. Understand me. This is what men don't like. Again, if you ask a man what he's looking for in a woman, right? I just want a woman, because again, I just want a woman to bring me peace, give me kids, you know what I'm saying? And just make sure the home, the house becomes a home. Don't argue with me. At the end of that whole conversation, right? Somebody has to make a decision. And you would want your husband to make that decision.
I would want both of us to make that decision.
But then if it comes down to it, somebody has to make the final decision.
Yeah, I can't take the high road and, let him lead, but not if
You don't let him lead.
You what?
You don't let the man lead.
Okay.
The man, let's be honest. When you go around to pick a man or whoever you want to be with, right? You just look for certain qualities in a man.
Right.
And leadership is just one of those things you would look for in a man.
I'm not looking for when I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking for what works for me first, because I don't know what works for the man, right? Maybe as we interact over time, I will figure out what really interests you or what you want, but I'm looking for qualities in you that works for me. I'm the one looking at that point.
So what are some of the qualities you're looking for in a man?
Oh my God, that's a whole other conversation of its own.
Because the reason why you say it's a whole other conversation is because it's a laundry list of things you're looking for in a man.
Not really. I just need someone that can mentally connect with me on the same level.
Okay. That's it?
Yes, that's it. You see, these days, a lot of people don't date mentally because you go out with somebody, they have this nice hourglass figure, and you're not listening to what they're saying. You're just completely taken aback by their, their shape or their abs or how they look. People don't date on their level anymore because they are so attracted physically that they don't think about the mental. I feel like I've gotten to a point in life where I don't date a man, I will not date a man for how he looks. You have to be able to mentally tell me why. Like, show me that you deserve this woman. We're not talking about your finances. We're not talking about your physical. Talk to me. Conversation between you and me so I know that you can connect with me on the same level.
Do you think so? Do you believe attraction is symmetrical or asymmetrical?
Very asymmetrical.
Okay. So if you're saying that you want someone to connect with you on the same level, right? Now you're trying to say you guys are equal at that point.
You should be able to understand me when I express myself, or I understand you when you express yourself. You're not just
The reason why I'm bringing up that point is because again, I know before we even came on air, we had a conversation before we got on here, and I always stress this, and I always do. Men and women don't see things the same way.
I agree.
Men and women are different in their own ways. A man, what I look for in a woman is different from what a man looks for, a woman looks for in a guy.
True.
You know what I mean? So it's the same way. What you want or what you look for in a guy, ideally, doesn't fit the same perspective of what a guy looks for in a woman.
True. True. I agree.
So if you're talking about fitting the same level, what does that mean? It means at some point we need to be equal. This is why I say men believe in hierarchy.
Okay.
Women are more so egalitarian in their views. You know what I mean? Let me explain it. So it was a good example, which I think there was a book, I can't remember the name of the book, where this guy, I think they kind of mentioned you got two kids, boys and girls, right? Girls like to play the kind of sports like hopscotch. You don't win anything in hopscotch. There's no hierarchy over there. But when you come onto other games where men like to play, you see there's always a structure over there. It's the guy who's at the top and then the guy who follows. A good example too, I remember we had this conversation not too long ago, and this lady said, would you need men or men, do we need men in the society? Women can survive without men and all that good stuff. Now that is just totally not right.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
So
we
what that
need each
means
other.
is men approach women differently from how women approach men. You know what I mean? Egalitarianism is not something associated with men. Hierarchy is what men understand better. So it goes back to the same thing when you said, well, I don't like the fact that, I'm being told what to do, da 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 da. And I ask you the question, you don't like that being told what to do because the man with you tells you what to do. You don't like that.
I like when you seek my opinion and say, what do you think about this? If we come to a decision together, I am more likely to follow than you telling me exactly what to do.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And it's funny because most women see things like you do. You will not listen to the man who is ready to die for you. You want to negotiate. But at your job, most women with their jobs, they don't negotiate with their bosses. They follow a schedule that was provided to them. They have to dress a certain way. They have to show up at a certain time. They have to, speak a certain way, do things a certain way. They follow those things. The man you've never met is your boss, and he tells you, or she tells you, you do this. You don't have a problem with that. You follow and follow to the T. But when you come home, the man who would die for you, if it comes to it, tells you the same thing, but you want to negotiate.
Do you not feel like that goes for both gender?
I'm not denying it. I'm just saying.
As much as you are willing to die for your woman, the woman is willing to die for you as well. Maybe the man has a stronger zeal than the woman.
But then my question becomes, when you go to the job, do you agree or do you have to negotiate with your boss? And if your boss tells you, okay, this is what the rules look like, do you want to start negotiating the rules and say, I don't want to come in at this time. Maybe I can come in at my own time. I don't want to dress like this. I want to do this. But when you go in there and it tells you these are the rules, black and white, you read through it, you sign the paper, say, I will do this. And you respect that man from start to finish.
I do.
But in reverse, you come home, your husband, believe it or not, if it comes to it, will put his life on the line for you. But now, you don't want to submit to him. You want to negotiate.
It's a mutual understanding.
Did you have the same thing at your job?
My job is not my priority. If I lose that job, I find another tomorrow. If I lose my spouse, I become a widow.
If that is the case, you submit to the job, and you can lose the job and find another one. But you will not submit to the man who says, this is what I want. And you lose that guy, you become a widow. You cannot submit to that guy.
You keep bringing it back to submission. I will do things with my husband. You just have to consult me first. You don't just make the decision and ask me to sign a piece of paper to say, hey, I'm not a follower. We make the decision together.
I agree.
This is something that benefits us. You don't just make it for all of us. Certain situations, of course, if you make a decision and say, hey, this is the best for my family, of course I'll go with it. But if you always make decisions for me, it's never going to work out.
Okay. I understand that part, right? And if you will, I think that's where you start seeing that disconnect. about the modern woman and the traditional woman. But again, if you look at the man has not changed. Men have always stayed traditional. But the modern woman has changed over time. Because if you think about it, right, all those things, like we started from the precipice of this conversation we started. If you take that woman back to Africa, she cannot have that same kind of conversation.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Now, if you bring them back to the United States, all of a sudden they can have those kinds of conversations. It tells you there's a disconnect somewhere. They understand what's right. Because if you tell me you go on a date, you expect the man to pay on the first date, and I'm not just saying just you, but most women would expect a man to pay on the first date. Those are traditional values. It hasn't changed for a man. In Africa, we do the same thing. In America, we do the same thing. In Europe, I used to live in Europe, we do the same thing. And why is it that the woman, how she lived when she was in Africa, is different from how she lived when she's in America?
So again, I love our cultural values. I am a very traditional woman. I was brought up in a very traditional household. I try to preserve that culture as much as I can, but the world is evolving. You cannot live like that anymore. You have to adopt certain things to make changes in life. I cannot be that woman that will wake up, take care of the home and wait for a spouse to come and take care of me. I have to evolve. I have to adopt the things that will make you survive in society today.
The problem is more emphasis is being placed on the woman, the role the woman plays, and very little emphasis is being placed on the role the man plays. And it goes back to the same thing, right? It goes back to the point where we don't talk about the importance of a father figure in a kid's life, or we don't talk about the importance of men just as good as we don't, with the same emphasis as which we talk about the importance of a mom or a woman. Let me explain this. Mother's Day is, in my opinion, probably the most celebrated holiday in America.
Absolutely.
Do you know what Father's Day is on that poll? Probably number 13. Halloween comes in before Father's Day. That's the extent to which men and fathers have been demonized in the society which we live in, or not even being appreciated that more, or not being appreciated as much as they appreciate the mom. You know what I mean? But again, because we don't throw lights to those things, we just look at it as, it's being so insignificant. You know what I mean? So again, I'm not saying that what you guys do is not appreciated. But again, if you say we all stay to what we do best, you know what I mean? You stay, let me be the father. And 9 times out of 10 in a home, the father is always the villain. The kids hate the dad. They love to be around the mom because mom always make it easy. But the truth of the matter is, gender roles, it's probably the most unspoken thing which we run away from, but it is necessary. But again, women, and this empowerment, the empowerment movement and all of these different things, it's gotten to the point where when you start talking about how the men, doing something, they want to compare that to what is it, but a woman does all of this. No, I'm not trying to compare.
At the end of the day, we need each other to survive.
I agree.
No gender is better. No, well, we can have different opinions. We can disagree on a lot, but we do need each other to survive.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
The moment we don't go back to the values, because there's more that brings us together than the things that separate us. You know what I mean? And like I said, a woman brings something special to the table. A man brings something unique to the table. My only thing is, women have now been empowered so much that, again, that whole energy, that power is just starting to overshadow the presence of a man. And that's why you see, and it's really bad, not just for the woman herself, it's bad for the kids. If kids are involved, that gets even worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's funny because I know we talked about this a little bit. I did a research called juvenile delinquency. When you start seeing most of the kids with all this juvenile or all this delinquent behaviors, there's always something underlining. There's an underlying factor that puts those kids in those compromising positions. Put it this way. A kid without a father figure, a boy without a father figure in their life, between the age of 12 and 14, that's a good 60 to 64% chance that kid will fall into the juvenile system between that age without a father figure in their life.
True. And
for a daughter without a father figure in their lives, that kid has a good 54 to 56% chance of getting pregnant by 16. So The dad is very important in the kid's life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But again, when we have this empowerment movement where we say, women can do it all. I don't need a man in my life. I can do it better than a man would do it.
And that's because we see a lot of women raised in single households. If it comes to a single dad household, do you not feel like the children are going to be lacking because they don't have a mother in their life as well? Maybe the delinquent behaviors are not going to be the same, but do you not feel like if a single parent, regardless of female or male, raises a child, that the loophole that creates in the children's life can affect them regardless of what gender raises his children?
You're right, and I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you brought that topic up again. This is just the truth. Statistic. I believe in stats, right? Kids raised by a single mom, they turn out to be more delinquent than kids raised by a single father.
We're going to hold that conversation because if we go deeper into that, it's going to be a whole day of its own.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But then, but I was just saying that because you asked that question.
Okay.
But again, men tend to do a better job at, being a single parent than women do.
I will absolutely disagree. I will absolutely disagree. But again, that's a topic we will explore for another day.
I would say some more in terms of delinquency. Because now here's the truth. And the reason why you see most of these situations where you have all this delinquent and kids ending up in jail and, boys ending up in jail and kids, girls ending up getting pregnant by 16 or 17. Here's my question, right? If you want to learn how to become a pilot, you go to a pilot. Mm-hmm. If you want to learn how to become a chef, you go see someone, meet a chef. The problem is most of the kids coming up nowadays don't even have that role, that father figure. So you have a mom, with a new mom, mm-hmm. who was raised by a mom who couldn't even hold a man or who didn't even know what it took to raise a kid in a nuclear or in a family where the mom and dad are present. Mm-hmm. So she's grown up to be, I can do it all by myself. My mama did it, my auntie did it, I can do it too. So she just carries on with that same trend. A boy grows up and say, all he knows is my mom, my mom, my mom. And that's, mom are not good at disciplining boys like dads would.
I believe every boy child needs a dad in their life.
You need your dad in your life.
Yeah. Regardless of whether it's your biological father or not, you need a father figure.
You need some
kind
of father figure. Because again, like you said, if you want to learn how to be a chef, you want to learn from, go to a chef, go to a culinary art school or find someone who's a chef, can teach you. If you want to fly a plane, you go find someone who's a pilot who knows how to fly planes. You cannot tell me the boy is 14 years old, but again, has no father figure in his life. How does that boy learn to become a man?
Yeah.
I think we've had enough for today.
All right.
Well, we can pick up the conversation at some point.
Absolutely.